the big question that Vikings fans are asking following the 2025 NFL draft is, why didn't the Vikings draft a cornerback or a safety? Because clearly that was a big position in need, and they decided to go in another direction with all of their draft picks. So welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman. On today's show, why the Vikings decided not to draft a cornerback or a safety in this past year's NFL draft. So let's just quickly look at how the draft ended up shaking out. Obviously took Donovan Jackson in round 1, offensive guard from Ohio State. You ended up getting the speedy wide receiver Tai Felton from Maryland in round 3. Then you went Tyrion, Ingram-Dawkins, defensive tackle from Georgia. This guy's a stud, man. Watch out for him being a breakout guy, even though he's a 5th-round pick. This dude's that dude's legit. We honestly would probably do a full show on him here in the future. But he also got Kobe King, linebacker out of Penn State, and then Gavin Bartholomew, the tight end out of Pittsburgh. But we'll talk about why the Vikings did not draft a cornerback or a safety here in a second. But before we do so, we're actually going to start an NFC North sub-battle, and it's going to be a race to 100 subscribers. So we will get the first crack at this. If you guys could, hit that subscribe button today. I think we could pick up 100 subs off today's show. So if you guys have not already, hit that subscribe button. And please, 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 I sit next to these guys every single day, our Packers hosts and our Bears hosts. So if you guys could, subscribe to the channel. Don't miss a thing around your Minnesota Vikings. So why didn't they draft a cornerback or a safety? I think it's because of these 3 guys. Theo Jackson, Mekhi Blackmon, and Isaiah Rodgers. I think if the Vikings had any doubts on either of these 3 players taking that next step this upcoming season, they would have addressed safety or cornerback at some point because the board kind of fell nicely to the Vikings at 24. You had both safeties, Malachi Starks and Nicky Minwari. You still had a guy like Will Johnson on the board, and the fact that they decided to go in the direction of an offensive lineman, I think that's telling me they got faith in these 3 guys. So let's break them down, starting off with Theo Jackson. Probably is going to be a full-time starter this year. You still got Harrison Smith. You still got Josh Metellus, but the Vikings run that bandit defense, which bandit is just necessarily you got 3 safeties on the field, which they do that 97% of the time. And this offseason, he was the first move the Vikings made where they signed him to a 3-year, $9.3 million deal. If he ends up being a full-time starter and he ends up being an impactful player, that contract's going to look like a joke, hopefully 2 months into the season. But how did Theo play last season? Again, very limited reps. He really only did fill in that one game against the Seattle Seahawks when Harrison Smith didn't play, but he did have the game-sealing interception in that matchup. But 79.2 overall grade, 13th highest rated safety. Also another good one. Coverage, 77.1, 13th in the league. Now, he does struggle. Again, this was very, very limited reps. 53.6 in the pass rush, 65.9 in the run defense. But I found this quote from a little bit ago after they extended Theo Jackson. Brian Flores, defensive coordinator, was talking about him and said this, saying anyone who watches Theo work from a meeting standpoint, from a training standpoint, from just an understanding of concepts and knowledge of the game, I think he's starting to put a lot of things together. And he's growing in confidence, which comes with preparation. And he prepares the right way, and it's showing up on the field. And obviously Flores showing this guy some love. It makes a lot of sense. Because what does Flores love? He loves versatility on defense, and this was Theo Jackson's snap alignment from this past season. Again, he did not play in a lot of snaps for the Minnesota Vikings, but he actually had 8 at defensive line, 19 at box safety, 32 at free safety, 17 at slot corner. He actually had 1 rep as an outside corner. That was just on a run play, so he didn't get picked on there. But listen, Theo Jackson, very versatile player, former 6th-round pick, went to Tennessee, but then he also went to the Titans, and the Vikings were able to pick him up. And I got a little prediction here. Just kind of when I listen to Theo Jackson talk, he's got some personality to him. He's just a cool guy. I think he's going to be a fan favorite next season because all of us are still kind of mourning the loss of Cameron Bynum. You know, we wish he was able to return, but just the pricing didn't work out on his extension. I think that guy right there, Theo Jackson, this was in a picture before he changed his number. But number 26, Theo Jackson, I think will be a fan favorite during next season. So if you guys want to show Theo some love, Vikings are expecting a lot out of him this upcoming season. So if you guys want to show him some love, type those 2 6s, type his jersey number down below in the comment section. Can't wait to see that guy going out there and making plays for the purple and gold every single week. All right, the next guy here, Mekhi Blackmon. So Mekhi, unfortunately, and I remember exactly what I was doing. I was actually at the gym when I got that notification that he tore his ACL, and I was absolutely devastated because I thought he was going to have a breakout year in 2024. But he did miss the entire season with torn ACL, but he's fine. He'll be fully ready to go, which is great news there. But remember his rookie year in 2023, he was pretty damn good for a third-round pick. I think they took him at pick 102. So, again, the last pick of the third round, but he was pretty solid. 71.8 overall grade, run defense 63.9, great tackling grade according to PFF at 90.3, and coverage solid as well at 71.8. So he had a monster rookie year, and I think a lot of us were anticipating, Blackman taking that next step. But Flores, he thought the same thing. This was after Flores got the news that Blackman will be missing the entire 2024 season, saying, I thought we were going to see a different version of Mekhi, a better version of Mekhi. And quite honestly, I think we'll see that moving forward. That's what I told him yesterday. To me, I think 10 years from now, this would be a bump in the road over the course of his journey through the NFL. That was my message to him yesterday. Also, all these quotes about Flores, I can see why these guys say, oh, I'm going to run through a brick wall for Brian Flores. I mean, if I had him in my camp, I'd be feeling the same way about our defensive coordinator for the Vikings. But how about this? I think Mekhi Blackmon taking a step would move the needle for this Vikings defense. Like, if I had to pick one guy, stepping up on this group this upcoming season, it would be Mekhi Blackmon. Because let's just say that step is him becoming one of the better cornerback twos in the league. Or him playing on the outside, Byron Murphy in the slot, or him bumping to the outside in certain plays. If you would have another lockdown guy at that cornerback 2 position, it could be huge for this defense, because the one weak spot of that unit, honestly the only weak spot of the entire freaking team for the Vikings, is that cornerback 2, 3, and 4 spot. But with guys like Isaiah Rodgers, Mekhi Blackmon, Dwight McGlothern, even a guy like Jeff Okudah, if one of those guys takes a leap, which I think it will be Blackmon, we could be talking about the secondary totally differently heading into the next season. But I'll ask you guys this. Where do you stand on Mekhi? Are you a believer in him? I am. I better see 500 yeses down below in the comments section. But if you guys believe in Mekhi Blackmon, give me a Y for yes. But if you don't, maybe you're a little skeptical of the former third-round pick out of USC. Give me an N for no in the comment section. Now we'll deep dive into Isaiah Rodgers here in a second, but before we do so, if you guys want to get a JJ McCarthy jersey today, head to chatsports.com/Vikings jersey. They are flying off the shelves right now. This is going to be a hot jersey in US Bank Stadium on game day, or just watching it at a local bar. You're going to be seeing a whole lot of number 9. So if you guys want to get a JJ jersey today, head to chatsports.com/Vikings jersey. Got that link in the comment section and description of today's show. All right, so another reason why the Vikes didn't draft a corner, I think it's because of this guy, Isaiah Rodgers. Now, you signed him to a 2-year, $15 million deal this offseason, and he has never been a guy that's had a massive role in the defense. He's had a massive limited role, if that makes sense, but he's never been a guy where he's like, oh, I'm playing 1,000 snaps a year. He's been more around that 300 to 500 snap range, but when he has played, he has been very effective. But I always use this comparison where it's like, connecting the NFL to the NBA here. Like, you can be an efficient 15-point-a-game guy, in your NBA career. But let's just say your usage rate goes up, and, can you be an efficient 25-a-game guy? I think that's the question Vikings are hoping to get answered by Rodgers. But Kevin O'Connell, he was talking about the Vikes signing Rodgers, and apparently Flo was pounding the table for him, and this is what he had to say. Isaiah was a guy that Flo really identified pretty early. And historically, I haven't been doing this long with Flo, but when Flo kind of has that tone in his voice about guys, I'm not going to mention the other ones that he has had that in his voice about, but he's pretty darn accurate. And that guy, whether playing for us or somebody else, has immediately shown up. So no pressure on Isaiah, but he definitely got that evaluation from Flo. And I love that quote from KOC, hyping up the man, Isaiah Rodgers. And it kind of gets me to this. If Brian Flores believes in Isaiah Rodgers, I believe in Isaiah Rodgers. I do not know a lick about defense in the NFL compared to that man, Brian Flores. And if he's watching the tape, he's watching Isaiah over the last couple of years, and he's like, oh, that's a guy that could potentially be huge in our scheme, huge in our system, huge in our locker room, then yeah, I'm going to believe in Isaiah Rodgers as well. But his PFF grades, again, pretty solid. Again, this is in limited time for the Eagles this past season, but when he was out there, he was an impactful player. 76.0 overall grade. That was 21st out of 222 eligible corners. Good in the run defense, and honestly, that might be why Flores is such a big fan of it, is because he can step up in the run game and make some big-time tackles, but also coverage grade, pretty solid as well, 74.0. So as you're just looking at this cornerback group as a whole, Obviously you got Byron Murphy. Don't need to spend a lot of time on him. But then you're trying to find who's going to be that second guy that steps up. Is it Rodgers? Is it Blackman? Or maybe if Blackman or Rodgers goes down, could it be a guy like Okudah, Dwight McGlothern stepping up? Now, I will say with this, watch out for Stephon Gilmore getting signed maybe in August. If he's still out there, I could see the Vikings, head into that. But if I had to pick one guy who needs to step up, probably going to go Mekhi Blackmon. But you guys let me know who needs to step up for the Minnesota Vikings next season. And we'll see you guys next time. As always, Skol Vikes.